I would like to tell you a story. Now, this is found in the book Elves, so I would like to read it to you. It's about the Grid of Agony and the Field of Love. And it goes through the multiple dimensions of our fractal conscious universe, all into the dimensions of consciousness itself. And it begins with this. It's a quote. Someone is speaking. Open the portals of time. Seed the grid of agony with love. Shift the field from fear to love. Transform the past and create the future now. Be the sender. The grid of agony grows. You will need more senders. Call them. They will come. Let them gather together and transform the grid of agony into a field of love. Preserve life on the planet. Preserve life on the planet. All that is required, you have. The elf gently, so gently, removed his aged three-fingered hands from my shoulder. Too much living in time had aged him. His great almond eyes held mine for a moment, and in that moment I could see 1,000 lives so clearly. It was as though I had lived them as my own. Life after life after life, and lesson upon lesson upon lesson swept before me as my mind leapt to the realization of a love so profound, a peace so universal. It had woven the very fabric of time and space and birthed the source from which life sprang. A river of life burst from my heart, washing through every cell of my body, lifting, cleansing, and transforming the ashes of my agony, freeing and centering me. Suddenly, I was back again to the days of my youth. I was working with my father in his toy shop, yet I was filled with unspeakable joy. As he turned to leave, his parting words echoed over and over in my heart. You are the sender. Send for others. Then he was gone, his starship dissolving into the vastness of inner space. I am the sender, Nicholas, known as Santa. This is the story of my adventures with the elves, and how they taught me to transform the grid of agony by seeding it with the field of love and saving life on the planet. Chapter 1. The Sleigh Ride. On the day before my 6th birthday in the year 1482, my father, Hans Claus, had just finished working on a new sleigh. For weeks he had labored to master the curved front, the hand-carved sides, and the detailed forging and shaping of the runners. Finally, they were finished. I had to wait another whole day for the wood wax and bright red paint to dry. The heavy snows which covered the mountains surrounding our valley were perfect for sledding. "How much, Father? How much longer, Father? How much longer?" I would ask. Not much patience, my son," he would reply. My father and I lived alone, in a richly forested valley, secluded far beyond and above the village of Milan in northern Italy. Here the mighty Alps began their descent into the Mediterranean Sea, and our only neighbors were the priests, who lived 5 miles down the next valley at the Black Stone Monastery. Father avoided any contact with the priest of the monastery. It was because of what they had done to my mother during their inquisitions. But on this day, nothing would stop us from taking the only real sleigh running, even though it took us under the very shadows of the monolithic monastery. "Do you have your pack ready?" he asked, as he gently lifted the bright red shiny new sleigh from the hooks over the workbench. I rushed to get my pack. "And don't forget your fire lighter," he insisted, and last, we were off. Centennial pines penetrated a solid blue sky as we worked our way up over the crest between our valleys. We reached the heavy, crusted snows that blanket the mountaintops and the upper valley where the sun-basked ridge creaked under the weight of it. As we crossed the ridge, we came face to face with the ancient black stone monastery, dominating the entire side of the mountain. Its great walls were topped with Gothic figures peering down over a pristine valley below, and it gave me the shivers. My father hardly noticed. He was looking skyward, and as I followed my father's gaze, a magic, magnificent white hawk circled slowly in the air. Without a word, we passed over the ridge, and once in a while we would pause, catch our breaths, and then continue our struggle upward to reach the top of the run. I grew tired. "Father, can't we find another way to get up this mountain?" I asked. "How could it be done?" he replied. "Couldn't we use a sail like a boat?" I asked, trying to figure it out. "Well, which way does the wind blow?" he asked. "Down the mountain," I moaned. I could sense it with his skepticism, and I knew what was coming next. "Do you think a sail could carry us up if the wind blows down?" And he raised his great bushy eyebrows as he glanced back at me. "Could we track?" I coaxed, going back and forth. I joked. "Oh, keep on thinking," he mumbled. Then, after a few more yards of upward climb, I continued. "Well, we could get maybe snow deer to pull us up?" He looked at me with both eyebrows raised. "They're pretty small, you know." I went a little ways longer, but I continued to think it out. "Well, still, they like the snow." I trudged on with a few more yards, and finally he continued as if drawn into the subject. "Well, how many snow deer would it take?" he asked, as though he were really interested in the subject. 8! It just came out of me. I just knew it was 8. So he kept right on with the subject. "And how would they get us to the top?" he asked. "Well, maybe they could just fly." "Well, yeah, that's how they could do it. Maybe we could just fly in the sleigh." It was such a magical thought. And this was the moment for imagination. We were getting well up into the heavy snow, and the field over which we climbed had leveled out so the going was a little easier, but my imagination was my favorite game with my father and I, and it's how we passed the time away together. "Well," said Father, "you would have to be a Santa." "A saint?" I said, truly befuddled. "Only they have the power," he said as he stopped to catch his breath. I sat down beside him as he dropped into the crushed snow. "What is a Santa?" I asked as I lay back into the sun. "Well, it's someone who uses the power of love to do good." And he said it as though he really knew. It was like my father, to know such things, and I trusted his words like they were manna from heaven. Can they really fly? My mind was swirling with the possibilities. Well, what if angels could fly? What if people could fly? His reply was like pushing me over a cliff. "If love required it, I guess they could do just about anything," he said. "I like that," I said, lost in the flight of my own imagination. "Could I become a Santa?" The words just slipped out of me. He chuckled as he got to his feet. "If you had the faith, you could even fly up a mountain." I too stood. We began to climb up again, and like always, I began to hum a tune, and then I started making up words. Boom, 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 boom. If birds could fly, and flies can fly, if clouds and moon and sun can fly, maybe someday couldn't I? Boom, 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 boom. We climbed up and up, approaching the point where we could see our destination at the top of the run. I sang on, passing the time. If angels fly and arrows fly, if clouds and moon and sun can fly, maybe someday couldn't I? Boom, 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 boom. Maybe if a Santa I could fly. Boom, 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 boom. Then I pointed to my father and said, "Your turn." And he goes right on. Boom, 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 boom. He joined right in. If rain can fly and snow can fly, if rocks and sticks, and I threw a piece of snow, and my father and his father raised his eyebrows, can fly, he paused. I got right in. Then someday, surely, wouldn't I? Boom, 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 boom. Someday I'll be a Santa and I'll fly. Boom, 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 boom. As we laughed and sang our way to the top of that long climb, the sound of our coming reverberated off the mountains, and the heavy snows groaned and shifted under the impact of the sound of our voices. The sun warmed. Wet snowdrifts hung heavy over the crests. Even the sound of our passing may have caused them to be loosened, but they loomed above us, unnoticed, in the joy of our being together. We reached the pinnacle of the hill, turned the sleigh, and tucked ourselves in. I remember how my father's long legs securely sighted me, so I was safe and protected both from him and by the sleigh, and then curved around and inward, partially covering me in the front. Tucked in good and snug, I realized the moment had finally arrived. "Forward launch," laughed my father as we pushed off down the hill. The sleigh immediately picked up speed. We dashed down the hill, leaning to the left and then to the right, and our headlong flight down the ice-crusted mountainside we plummeted. Excitement pounding through me as we took to the air when our sleigh suddenly cascaded over a great hump. "Forward launch," laughed my father as we pushed off down the hill. "Ho, ho, ho! You can fly! You're a Santa! Ho, 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 ho! Santa!" my father shouted over the rush of the wind in my ears. The jump was so long I heard him gasp under his breath, "Ho, ho, Santa!" while I was holding my breath, frozen in that moment of flight. Time stood still. I flew as if forever. My father's shout seemed to pass into a tunnel, long, long way away, but I could hear him. "We're flying through the air! Ho, ho, ho!" But it was as in a dream. "That's my Santa," jarred me out of my fear trance, while everything seemed in slow motion. Once we crushed back onto the ice, the surge of pure excitement took over. The magic of the moment became an infusion of fun and adventure, of being one with nature, one with the mountains, the sleigh, and my father, and we all catapulted jump after jump down the hill, flying towards the great shadow of the monastery. I let go my grip. I raised my hands, my arms, as the sleigh flew through the air on another big jump. "Look, Father, I'm a Santa! I can fly! I can fly! I'm a Santa!" At that moment, a priest, dressed in black, and situated high in the tower of the monastery, pulled the toll rope of the bell. The sound of the great Gothic bell reverberated through the valley and bounced off the snow-laden mountain crest, shaking loose the fragile grip of the early winter snows. Branching off from the valley where we were sleighing, a great rumbling announced the birth of an avalanche at the mountain shed on the upper weight of its new, heavy, wet winter coat. Down that branching side of the valley, hidden from our view, and so unseen by my father or me, the wall of snow and debris swept towards us. My father sensed its presence too late. A huge tree, combined with several great snow boulders, caught on the crest of the avalanche and hurled down upon us in front of a tidal wave of snow. My father tried to turn the sleigh, but it was too late. Caught in the momentum, he was thrown into the air. I remember he screamed my name and scrambled to grab me, but he was tumbled by the snow and carried over the crest of the avalanche to be turned down into the underside of a giant pine, rolling like a great jagged wheel across the crest of the snow. "No!" I screamed, and intuitively clung on for dear life, crouched inside beneath the curved front of the sleigh. The sleigh and I were thrown into the air, plummeted up and down and sideways, crossways, riding the crest of the avalanche wave until tumbled end over end to be dumped down inside of a great ditch. Tons of snow must have flowed over me as I lost consciousness underneath the sleigh. There was no light when I woke. I must have had the breath knocked completely out of me, and at first I lay for some time in what must have been a semi-conscious state. The first thing I remember is I couldn't breathe. As I struggled to breathe, I tried to push the snow away from my face. To my relief, it gave a little way, and I rested a while as I caught my breath. But I was getting cold. After a while, I pushed more snow away and made a little space for myself, and I kept pushing. I was surprised to find the snow gave way on the left side of my little space. I kept pushing. It kept giving. I felt around, and I discovered I had created a small crawl space from under the sleigh into what I soon knew, but didn't know what it was, but it didn't take me long to figure it out, because I discovered I must have been in the sewer pipe leading into the monastery. Tune in for the next chapter. You can read more about this book by reading Elves, The Grid of Agony, The Adventures of Nicholas, The Grid of Agony, and The Field of Love.